everybody, and welcome back to Sweet and Sour Soccer, and welcome back to the return of Tier List Tuesday. Yes, guys, I wanted to do some championship content whilst the international break was on, and I thought what better way to do it than do my final EFL championship predictions. I did debate whether it was worth it. Of course, 7 games left, for the majority of teams. 2 isn't said and done. You could also, obviously, the massive battle at the bottom of the table. I think there's still a lot to play for in the championship. I'm going to go through this as genuine as possible. I haven't got my list pre-decided. I think that would make for a better video. So things are going to move around on this tier list. Obviously, we've got first, second, the playoffs, mid-table, lower mid-table, and then relegation are the five tiers that I've got. And things will move about because I'm going to go into this as, just like not at the top of my head, but like just in terms of I wanted it to be genuine as possible. I wanted to think through my thoughts, and you guys can join me on that journey. We'll start off with Sheffield United, though, and for now I'm going to put them in that playoff position. They've had a great season. Obviously, things really picking up in the second half of the season. They've got 2 games against QPR, which is going to be really interesting, to be fair, because that could decide a lot come the end of the season. But for now, Sheffield United, they go into the playoffs. West Bromwich Albion next, and they go into 7th to 14th and will gradually get moved across to the right as the video goes on. I think Steve Bruce has done, and West Brom have started to pick up some form, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get into the playoff picture. I think they will miss out, and I think there'll be a few teams above them, but still won't make the playoffs, to be honest. Coming on to Fulham, and this is an easy one. Champions, Mitrovic setting records himself. The interesting thing for Fulham is going to be what they do next season, isn't it? We've seen it before with Fulham coming up, dominating the championship. Can they maintain that in terms of becoming a Premier League team, a team that stays up? That's what everyone's interested to see with Fulham. I think it'd be really disappointing if they go back down again to then go and probably dominate the championship again. It's not really good viewing, is it, at times? 15th to 21st, Cardiff will go in that picture. And I think with teams having, I think their local rivals, Swansea, I'm going to come on to now, actually, will finish above them. And the reason for that, I say local rivals, Welsh rivals, Swansea, will finish above them, is just because Cardiff do have, Swansea, have games in hand on Cardiff City. Millwall next, and here's my big first call, playoffs. Millwall probably have the best run-in of those challenging for the playoffs in terms of fixtures coming up. Millwall also have probably the best run of form as well. They've done absolutely fantastic recently, picking up a lot of wins, being a very hard team to beat. So even when they're not losing, they're winning, they're at least getting the draw. And I think when you look at the fixtures they've got left, I really do fancy Millwall to make the playoffs, to be honest. We come on to Blackburn Rovers, and another big call. I think Blackburn sadly miss out on the playoffs, and the reason for that is, and look, it has picked up a little bit, but their goal-scoring record hasn't been brilliant. Look, if Blackburn pick up their goal-scoring record and it becomes a bit more like the first half of the season, then I think they make the playoffs. But I think recently they scored 1 goal in the last 9 games. Of course, that broke when they beat Derby 3-1 last week. But of course, I just have a funny feeling with Blackburn that they're just going to not pick up enough form. There's going to be some teams that come into really good form, and I've just not seen enough from Blackburn to say they will be the team to do it. Sorry, Blackburn fans, I do think you miss out, sadly. Bristol City next, and Bristol City, I'm going to pop there. I think, look, Bristol City, going forward, a lot attackingly, they've not had a bad season, but nearly 70 goals conceded in the championship. You can see where they need to improve. If they can sort out their defence and keep their best players, Bristol will be on for a much better season next season. Nottingham Forest now, and of course, Nottingham Forest, I'll put in the playoffs for now. Absolutely great cup run that, they've had. And of course, I feel they've got a touch easier fixtures than Sheffield United. I think they've just had really good form as well. I fancy Forest to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be a really entertaining playoffs, whoever makes it. And I do back Forest to make it. QPR are another one that we've got to speak about next. Joe, I'm going to make a big call. I think they're a team that miss out too. And QPR, it's going to come down to the Sheffield United games. I think it'll come down to those games. I think if either of those teams can pick up 6 points from that, they'll probably have enough then with the other fixtures to get to the playoffs. But those two big games they're going to be massive. And if there's 2 draws, for instance, that could harm both of them. QPR's form has been a little bit all over there, and I think that's the reason why I think they'll narrowly miss out. I do, and I know that's a big call. Coming on to Stoke next, I think Stoke probably finish above Bristol City. I'm going to put them there. I think with Stoke, they had a really fantastic start to the season, and then things just considerably dropped off. I think when we did our championship predictions, kind of like I think it might have been mid-November when we last did them. I think one of us, out of me and James, even put Stoke to actually get into the playoffs. I can't remember which one of us it was, but they've really dropped off in the second half of the season, to be honest. And yeah, they're going to finish in that somewhere within there. Coming on to Preston next, and I think Preston, I think they're my 14th. I think that's where they're going to finish. You'll see them the furthest right. I think Preston have, they've just had like a middle of the road season, haven't they? Coming on to Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth have probably got enough to finish in second place. The team that's going to obviously challenge them is Huddersfield, but I do feel that they haven't got enough to obviously catch Fulham. And I do think it'll just be a comfortable second place finish with Fulham and Bournemouth automatically going up. Coming on to Middlesbrough now, of course, they've also had a great cup run. And I'm going to put them to finish above Sheffield United, I think. And I'm going to put them to finish above Forest as well, actually. Middlesbrough have some really nice fixtures coming up towards the end of the season compared to Forest and Sheffield United. I think they have slightly harder fixtures, and I think that's my reason for putting them in the playoff positions. Huddersfield next, and of course, Sheffield United, I said things would move. Sadly, you are going to move down to 7th position now. Huddersfield, I think, will finish in 3rd position. I think they're really going to challenge for those playoff positions. I think maybe I've put Millwall a little bit too high. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I think Millwall will go on a bit of a run, but maybe Middlesbrough will finish higher. Yeah, I think Huddersfield make the playoffs comfortably, and I think it'll be a really interesting battle there. Coming on to Reading, do you know what? I'm going to leave the relegation battle for a bit. I think I'm going to come back to them in one. Luton now, and Luton's an interesting one. Of course, they could be on for the playoffs as well. Oh, Luton have quite winnable fixtures. I might revisit this. I'm going to put Luton 7th. I think Luton narrowly miss out. God, this is looking horrible to say that Blackburn are going to end up in 10th, but it's possible, isn't it? Because of how close those positions are. There's like 8 teams battling, and there's like 4 points between them. They could end up anywhere, and everyone's going to look at this and think shocking, and I don't blame them, but I feel I could be right still. I think this is going to divide opinion massively. Let's go on to Birmingham. Birmingham finished there for me, I think, behind Bristol City. Birmingham, of course, have had they had a good start to the season, but things didn't then continue, did they? And they really dropped off with the injuries that they picked up. A couple of loan players getting injured, a couple of loan players getting recalled as well. Certainly hasn't helped them in the second half of the season. I think they finished there. Coventry City now, and I'm going to put Coventry behind Blackburn just so I don't get any more abuse from Blackburn fans. I think Coventry are going to miss out. They've got some tough fixtures. Their form it went a bit up and then it's going to be back down. I think Coventry do sadly miss out on that playoff position. But do you know what? Just because I've put 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, just because I've put Coventry 11th doesn't mean that I think they're going to be a million miles off the playoffs. I think this could be one of those tightest playoff battles of recent history or for a long, long time. Just because I think there's so many teams involved, this really could go either way, and it might come down to the heads-to-heads that we see later on in the season. Look, we'll come on to Blackpool now. I think they have also missed out. I think they've picked up a good run of form recently, and I'm going to put them there. I think they finish above West Brom still, West Brom, and I think they finish above Preston. Let's finish off with Hull City. They go below Birmingham, and we'll move on to the relegation talk now. Obviously, Hull will be probably just delighted they got themselves away from that relegation talk, that relegation conversation, and the stay up. Hopefully for Hull fans, they'll push on to more next season and won't be involved in a relegation battle. Let's start off with the relegation, the final four. I'm going to put Peterborough in there straight away. Of the four teams involved in this relegation scrap, I unfortunately don't think. I think Peterborough are going to finish bottom. I think Peterborough finish bottom. They've picked up some decent results lately, but I just feel the others have probably got a bit more fight in them, and maybe will just pulling off better results. Derby are going to go there. I think it'll come down to Reading and Barnsley. I think around January, everyone got massively involved. Didn't matter who you supported around Derby's story. It did look like Rooney was perhaps on the brink of saving them. But recent form, they've really just become a relegation form team, actually, unfortunately. And I do feel, especially with how Barnsley are getting on at the moment, pulling off some big results. Reading, obviously, last midweek, getting a result against Bournemouth. I just feel that Derby are going to miss out. And I just really hope for Derby fans that everything gets resolved in terms of the financials. And, you guys come back up the following season and everything just, as long as Derby remains, I think that'll be a win for the fans at this moment. Right then, it's the big call. It's the final two. And I'm going to go Barnsley to stay up, and I'm going to go Reading to go down. And I think Barnsley have come into some absolutely fantastic form here. And I really do feel that Barnsley will be the team to stay up. I think they've picked up some decent points. I just think Reading had they've got the result against Bournemouth, and then of course they've got a couple of wins, but then there was 3 losses on the bounce after those couple of wins. I just have a feeling that Barnsley are going to be the team, and that's my justification. It is a feeling, and I just feel it's going to be Barnsley. There's just enough that they've done to pull off the big results. So guys, let me just switch so you guys could get a nice view of my final predictions there. We've got Fulham first and Bournemouth. The playoffs are going to be Huddersfield, Middlesbrough, Millwall, Forest. This is probably where I'm going to take the most abuse. But to be fair, guys, it's going to be so close, isn't it? We then come on to the teams that are narrowly going to miss out for me. Luton, Sheffield United, QPR, Blackburn, maybe Coventry. But I'd say at least those 4 could quite easily still end up in the playoff picture, to be honest. I think they really could. And apart from that, I think it's all said and done. There'll be some debate around who's going to go down, but I just have a feeling that it will be Barnsley that stay up. Guys, let me know your thoughts. I know this is going to be a massive debate. It's going to cause some controversy, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back next week with my next EFL Championship predictions. Please do hit that subscribe button.